Well, you know, this was a great week because I just declared just a few days ago that I will be running for the leadership of the PC party and for the premiership of this province. And I was in Medicine Hat and Lethbridge and now in Calgary. But for me, it was particularly meaningful to meet with our Polish community here. Because as everybody knows, those are my roots. That's where I was born. And to be able to actually explain my platform in Polish was a great experience for me. So I was so happy that this many people showed up on such a short notice.
I would love to hear again your platform, this time in English.
Sure. It'll be easier for me to do it in English. My platform, I believe, will be significantly different from what you will be seeing from other candidates. And that is why I waited to enter the race last, because I wanted to see what will they be unrolling and what kind of a campaign they will form, who will be on their campaigns, who will be working on their campaigns. So first of all, no one will be working on my campaigns. It's a volunteer-driven campaign, driven by Albertans for Albertans. My platform, aside from the fact that I will be focusing on some of the large provincial and national and international issues like gaining access to new markets and growing our economy and constructing pipelines to access new markets, I also will be focusing on what I consider to be very important issues to everyday Albertans as they wake up in the morning and they're having issues to find a daycare for their children, as they're finding it difficult to find a place for their parents in a seniors facility, as they live in neighborhoods and they don't have schools to send their children to and they end up busing them for hours across the entire province. Those are real issues. Those are very important issues. And I think that in a province like ours that has a phenomenal revenue, that attracts billions of dollars into our oil sands, some of those basic issues must be resolved, because if we are to attract people to this province, retain them in this province, and make this province more than just a place to come to make money, we have to provide that quality of life. That is what Albertans expect. That's what they expect from our government, and we need to focus on those very fundamental but very important issues.
We talk about many issues, and I love your vision of Alberta, change from just the oil province to province which provide everything.
Yeah. Well, that's important. You know, I often jokingly say that the Stone Age didn't end because they ran out of stones. Bronze came along. And our oil and gas industry has been really good to this province for quite a long time. And it will continue to be good to our province for many, many years into the future. And we must continue investing in that and growing that industry. But we have to ask ourselves right now a very fundamental question. What will this province look like 40, 50 years from now? What is the next industry? Are we going to continuously rely on one industry into the future? And I believe the answer should be no. We for a first time, we actually must become serious about diversifying our economy. Our second most important economy is agriculture. How are we going to diversify that economy? How are we going to upgrade and refine agricultural products over here? How are we going to instead of sending our agricultural products in their fundamental initial stage, how do we upgrade them into value-added products? Instead of sending corn, how do we turn it into cornflakes? Instead of sending potatoes, how do we turn it into a value-added product? Because this is where high-end jobs are, well-paying jobs. This is where we create a new economic spin-off. How do we convert our expertise in energy and environment into becoming an international epicenter for energy and environment research? How do we convert our great universities, our agriculture, our livestock into bio research and become an epicenter for bio research? Those are the kinds of questions we have to start asking ourselves as Albertans. What will be the next economy? What natural strengths do we have because of the resources, human resources? And how are we going to grow them into another economy? Do we want to give our children more options into the future for careers? But also, do we want to finally wean ourselves off of this dependence on commodity prices, where one day we build schools and the next day we have to shut them down because the price of oil dropped? If we were to diversify our economy in some of the areas of strength that we already have, we could definitely stabilize our revenue and then truly truly offer predictable and sustainable funding for education, for healthcare, for seniors, and for other very important services. Anyone who currently, right now, promises that they will provide sustainable funding for education or healthcare is not being realistic, because if they are, either they will be increasing taxes to supplement dropping revenues from oil, or they're going to cut somewhere else. I firmly believe that in order to make that promise and actually be able to deliver on it, diversifying our economy is the only way about it.
Why should we pay attention to you?
Well, because I will present Albertans with a platform that will be distinctly different from what they will be seeing from other candidates and from what they are already seeing from other candidates. Why? Well, because I am distinctly different from the other candidates. You know, I relate to many of the issues that Albertans are struggling with every day. I have children who are small. Daycare is part of my life. Elementary school is part of my life. I have a mother who currently lives in a seniors facility. Those are the issues that I struggle with. I also bring vast experience relevant to provincial policies, because I've been elected for a number of years, I've been in cabinet for a number of years, I've been in business for a number of years, and I've been an educator, a teacher for some time in my past. But at the same time, I bring the energy. I have that burning in the belly. I'm very passionate about this province. I'm very passionate about our country. And lastly, but perhaps equally importantly, this is an opportunity for me to pay back. This province has been phenomenal to my family, considering that we came here out of communist Poland with literally nothing. And this province has created such opportunities for me and my family. I want to make sure that next generations of newcomers to this province and those who are lucky enough to be born in this province have the same opportunities that I had when I arrived over here. I'm stuck between two generations, little children and senior parents. I want to make sure that this wealth, not only from a financial perspective, but from other perspectives that is available to me here right now, that it exists into the future for the next generations. It's payback time. I have the energy, I have the confidence and the experience to bring that to government, and have a government that is connected to Albertans, that is reflective of what our values are, that governs this province responsibly, that is not entitled. I think being a premier is actually a place of humility. It's a place that is granted, lent to us by Albertans, and I want to make sure that I reflect their values and make them proud ultimately as a premier of this province. We often hear about entitlement. And when you actually look at the history of this province, now over 100 years of having elected officials, our history is quite phenomenal. We haven't had many scandals in this province. We have been electing very honorable officials of all political stripes into government. Having said that, some of the events of the last few months definitely have shaken up Albertans' confidence in their government. I firmly believe that integrity, trustworthiness cannot be borrowed. It has to be earned. And we have now 2 years until 2016, until the election in 2016, to earn back that confidence of Albertans and give us the privilege of governing this province into the future. It will be a lot of hard work, but the fact is this: I have colleagues who are very honorable. I know that the recent happenings that we as Albertans have been reading on the front pages of newspapers are not reflective of who they are, of what this government and this party stands for, because we have a 40-year track record of good government with integrity, and I know that we can restore that back, so Albertans will be proud of the government that they have and the work that their government officials do in government. As a leader, I will set very stringent standards on my caucus. I will be leading by example, but I also will put in place mechanisms that ensure that if there was anyone into the future whose perhaps compass was somewhat mistuned, that the procedures will keep them in line. It's unfortunate that we have to do that now, but it will give Albertans the peace of mind of knowing that not only do they have to rely on individual members' integrity, but there are processes in place that will make sure that our members live up to the expectations of Albertans. Thank you.